Welcome back to the Seaboard Central, everyone, and solo operating session part number 1. In part 1, we're going to work on ADM and follow around with the ADM switcher. So here's a little overview of ADM. It's sitting on a 2-foot by 8-foot long module, and it goes through an opening in the wall. Now ADM has 6 tracks. This is track 1, and it's used for loading out DDG, or dried distilled grains, and tracks 2 and 3 are unloading tracks where they unload corn, and tracks 4, 5, and 6 are storage tracks. There's also a tank track that loads out ethanol. Now with ADM being such a large facility, they have their own switch engine, and they use their own people to switch out the plant. So all this trackage inside the plant, they can move in and out of each track. That track extends through the opening in the wall all the way up to this D-rail. Now with ADM personnel, they don't have the key to unlock this D-rail, so that keeps them from accessing and fouling the Seaboard Central main line. So with that D-rail in mind back there, it gives us a parameter of how much track that the ADM crew has to utilize. And so they have to make their moves wisely. So the way this is set up, for every 4 cars of corn that's unloaded, it creates 1 loaded car of DDG and 1 loaded tank car of ethanol. Now ADM's using an entire old Alco S2 to perform the switching duties. And what we're going to do here now is move 1 empty car from track 3 over to track number 2. It's late afternoon over here, so we're getting some late afternoon sun that's shining on ADM. Now as we couple up onto track number 2, the car that's over the pit is actually unloaded, so we can shove 1 more underneath the pit to get unloaded. The one that's we're coupling into now that's hanging outside the building. So we're going to put this CP car underneath the shed so they can work on getting it unloaded. So while they're busy unloading that car, we'll take these other 2 cars back over to track number 3. And they can start working on this CMO car. That's basically what this job does. It's just moving loads and empties around. Just the loaded cars that are in the storage track, brings them over here to tracks 2 and 3 so they can get unloaded. Takes the loaded DDG cars and brings them back over to the storage track along with the empties. All right, with that move done, we can go over to the DDG track number 1, because they've got a car that's loaded and ready to be pulled. That Alco sure does have a cool sound, doesn't it? Having a switcher like this gives me an excuse to have something still in existence in 2015, since it is solely dedicated as the 8M switcher. We're going to come out of track number 1 and go back over to track number 2. And everything's ready to come out of track 2 now. So because we're limited with space, we're going to have to go back to track 1 with this empty DD car and get rid of it before we can pull everything off of track 2 and move it over to track 4. So we'll run this car back over to 1 and spot it underneath the unloading shed, or the loading shed. All right, back over to track 2 to pull everything. It's a hard place to couple up to because it's in an S curve. All right, now we're ready to come out with everything off of track 2. Shove it off in track number 4. This track 4 will just hold 5 cars. Now we'll reach over to track number 6, pull those 4 loads of corn, and go back to track number 2 with it. Having a large industry like this is a good excuse to run some old ancient power on a modern layout. Now, here we go. I'm controlling everything with the proto throttle. So I can engage drive hold, let it coast. And when I want to stop, I have the brake lever here. And center of the reverser. I have the speed maxed out on this unit to 8 miles an hour. As you can see, 8 miles an hour is pretty fast. I just cut it to idle. And you see how far this thing coasts, and I'm still going to have to apply the brake to get it to stop. I'm braking now just to get it to stop. All right, we've got 3 cars spotted up over on track number 2. We'll move this ADM car over to track number 3 and push another loaded car over the pit. You can see this module has a whole lot of operation to keep you busy for a long time. Now with those loads spotted up, we need to run out and grab a couple of more empty DDG cars off the pocket track. So we're going to run all the way out and grab those. All right, what I'm doing is I'm going to shove these 2 cars past this crossover and then pull them back through. Because obviously there wasn't enough room to pull them back towards that derail, since there was only room to clear 1 engine length. Hope you've enjoyed watching this ADM plant switcher work. There's still a lot that needs to be done to finish the job, but I think you've pretty much getting the idea of how it works. So we'll take these over to track 1. And then we'll be done. At least until next time. We're going to take a break next week for some much needed vacation, but I'll be back week after next with another solo operating session. So until then, thanks for stopping by and watching the Seaboard Central, and happy model railroading, everyone.